So welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersit.com. My name's Alexander and today we are looking at a game simply titled Ostkrieg. And it's World War II East Front, as you may well imagine. It's a game designed by Greg Smith and Mitchell Ledford. And it's just put out by Compass Games. So it's a World War II East Front game. So you can tell this is like a 1-inch box, 1.5-inch box. It's a little small thing. It's got some heft to it. You can hear all the dice inside. This is a 2-player game, and it's point-to-point movement. And it uses a system that isn't the same, but is similar to the Pacific Tide. I think it's the same system, not entirely the same. But I think it's part of that line. So to start with, we have a bunch of D6s. Looks like we have 12 of those. So we've got 12 D6s. We have our deck of cards, and this is a card game. We're just going to open these real quick. So these are the Russian ones. Yeah, so we've got the Soviet cards. You can see they got a little hammer and sickle and star there. We've got our German ones with the German Iron Cross there. So each player has their own deck. And the big thing with this game is you'll start with 1941 cards. And then you'll gain 1942 cards over the course of the, as time progresses, 1943 and 1944. I think that's as far as this one goes. So you start with your 1941 cards, and the way that you choose how your hands, and you kind of split them in half, you use these ones, then you use those ones, and there's some cards that you can kind of buy back into your hand, or some that always stay with you as you get new ones. There's a neat card system here, and it just gives you something extra to think about. We have the map, which is a small map. So it is, like we said, it's point-to-point movement. It is not necessarily the most inspiring map of all time. It's kind of brown in the background, and it's a whole lot of boxes with a whole lot of names and different colors on them. But you'll basically be filling these up with your units, and then it's just moving across, trying to achieve your victory conditions. You've got your little game turn track up here. It's going to tell you what year it is. It's 5 years. Well, it's 5 turns. So you play 41 through 45. A little kind of a key here for the different victory areas and different resources and bits and pieces like that. And as you might imagine, it's Germans trying to go capture all the victory points, and then the Russians trying to take it all back. Is a general flow of the game, at least. The other stuff we have in here is a rulebook, which is 22 pages. This is a solo play aid. Interesting. So that solitaire play aid. So if you want to play this solo, you can do it. So really, if you're playing this 2-player, which is what I would recommend, this is an 18-page rulebook. This is an extended example of play. So really, actual rules, 11 pages. That's not bad. 11 pages of rules, and this is a lot of. This is not a particularly dense rulebook, at least for wargamers. So this might be something. It's not a short game by any means, but it's also not a complex game, so it could be something that you could use to introduce to newer players, maybe. Just from a rules standpoint, at least learning the game. It has a solo mod, which is nice. And everything else in here is a couple play aids. Oh, okay, nice. Alright, so we have 2 solitaire play aids, which is one for... Well, these look identical, which is ironic because if you're playing solo, you don't need 2 of these. I suppose it's so that you could have both of them out under a plexi if you didn't want to keep flipping it over, I suppose, which is nice. I'm not going to complain about that, but there's no difference. It's not like one's for the German, one for the Russians. Those are both identical. 1941, Soviet defensive plan. Yep, nope, those are both identical. Okay, great. These are the actual play cards for your 2 players. These are also identical to both sides. So you have your national restrictions with all the German kind of alliance, the Axis alliance they got going on. You can't move certain places. Certain areas have to be with Hungarians or Romanians, for example. You got your nice little sequence of play, some partisan rules, number of dice, additional dice, combat results. Nice and easy to pick that up. And here's the nice thing, 1 sheet of counters. That's it. It's just one. On the back of them, you've got these. Are these reduced values? No, it looks like these are. So these are infantry of just different denominations. It's just a numbers value game in this one. You got the Germans. You got all the tanks, Russian air units, Luftwaffe, and these are control markers, I believe, for victory points. So the infantry units, though, and the Luftwaffe units have, the air units have a backside to them. You notice the tanks are the blank bits that don't. So the infantry, here they're all walking and they got their numbers on them. But on this side, it looks like they're in kind of it looks like it's a ring of kind of trenches. So I wonder if that's like if they've dug in and fortified, gives them a defensive bonus, but maybe they can't move as well. So that'll be something moving and digging into positions to defend. And the air units have a moved side to them, so you'll be moving your air units around as well. And they got a couple markers for attacks and for the solo bot, what they're doing. But that's it. It's a single sheet of counters. These punch out decently enough. Kind of fairly standard for white collar. You'll want to clip the corners of these if that's what you're into, because they do have some pretty significant tags on them at times. But really, that's Ostkrieg. It is a... And even with... If you were to put all of those in a tray, it would probably still fit in. You don't need to, though. That's so few counters. You could just put in a couple baggies. Everything's going to fit in this tiny little 1-inch box nicely. So having an East Front game that's kind of quick and dirty, at least relatively speaking, it uses the neat card system, and you chuck a whole bunch of dice for combat. Can always be fun. So this is Ostkrieg. We'll get our teeth into this, let you know how it is. From Greg Smith, just put out by Compass Games. So if this is something interesting, check it out, and you'll see a review for this one coming soon. Thanks for watching.